Jim Cavallero. I am a teacher of students with special needs at Chicago Academy High School on the north side. For me, honestly, I always liked school, and I also knew that when going out to get a career, I wanted to help people, and so I thought that would be a perfect way to do it, to become a teacher, because I would be able to help people and enjoy school. And then for special ed in particular, my sister was a student that had a disability, and so I wanted to make sure that I kind of got into that field just because it meant a lot to me seeing her struggling with school as she grew up. I was her younger brother, but still it kind of meant a lot to me to see that she was really struggling and she needed help. The biggest issue, obviously, are the budget cuts. Our schools are being hit left and right with serious budget cuts. My school in particular, we have a library, no librarian. We have a counselor for 560 students. We have one Spanish teacher for 4 years of Spanish. Lots of special ed cuts at other schools. My school got a little bit lucky, I guess, but in other schools, shortage of special ed teachers, and our most vulnerable students, are being left aside without having a teacher at the beginning of the school year. So I was asked to join the bargaining team, and I wanted to do it because the CTU believes in rank and file leaders being a part of the process. And I believe that I do have a voice and I want it to be heard. I think I have a lot of expertise in the area of special education as a high school teacher also. And I think I was able to give good input on the bargaining team. And it's actually the third time I've been on it. We had one way when we first started, 2012 and again. And it's always been a great experience. I've learned a lot about what's the real deal about public education in Chicago. I've come to grow as more of an activist teacher because of it. And I've learned to appreciate a lot of my colleagues and what they do, because we have people on that team from all different areas in education. We have counselors, we have other teachers, clinicians, social workers, PSRPs, which are our support personnel. And so it's made me appreciate their jobs a lot more because I hear the things that they have to go through. One of the things I think we all know, is that Chicago can fund our schools. They can give our students the schools that they deserve, but they don't want to. So what we need to do is we need to keep pushing on like we have been. We keep fighting, at the bargaining table and on the streets if we need to. And we'll get the schools that our students deserve. So this fight, it's for the schools that our students deserve. We always say that good teaching conditions are good learning conditions. So we want to make sure that we get things in our contract that are good for our students, good for us, so that we can teach our students in the best way possible. It's also about protecting our profession. A lot of education reformers, or I should say corporate education reformers nowadays, are frankly looking to destroy our profession. And so it's up to us to make sure we protect it so that we do have the best people coming in to want to be teachers. So that it's not just a bullet point on somebody's resume that they did for 2 years. We want the best people to come out and become teachers. Right? So this is my 26th year teaching, and I always say it's the only real job I've ever had. And I love it. Every day I get up and I still want to go. And it's just great because, you're working with students, with children, and I've worked with across the whole age range at this point now. But there's still that joy when a kid learns something and you see it in their eyes that they've learned something. There's no feeling that beats that. And so it's something that you want to keep doing and you want to protect, because you want other people that would be good at teaching to be in the profession and not to be scared away because of all of the craziness that happens. You want them to be there so they can do that same thing, help students, and share in that joy of teaching. So we need an elected school board because right now the school board is appointed by the mayor, so therefore they're only accountable to the mayor. We also need people that have some kind of stake in our schools. That's why we need parents, we need community members. I would even go so far as saying we need some students on there. We need to have people that are invested in our schools that are going to make the right decisions for all of our schools and all of our communities. And appointed members who are bankers and hedge fund managers and all these other jobs, they have no vested interest in our schools, so they're not going to make the right decisions. They're going to do what the mayor wants them to do for our schools, not what we need for our schools. Well, I think part of the answer is in Springfield. Obviously through funding. We could also use some collective bargaining rights being given back to us that were taken away several years ago, which has to be done through state law. But there's also a lot of stuff that could be happening right here in our city. You know, we're sitting on millions of dollars in TIF funds that could help our schools. You know, so I think it's a balance between Springfield and the city, and I'm not sure which one takes precedent, but I know that there's a solution, and one of them has to step forward and do it. And we're hoping that they will. But to me, honestly, one of the big things would be if we could get some collective bargaining rights back. You know, for things about, you know, we don't have the right to bargain about class size in Chicago. Just about every other district in the state can bargain about class size, but our rights for that were taken away several years ago. So if we could get that from Springfield, get the appropriate funding for our schools. And again, we're not asking for anything extra. We're asking for our schools to be funded the way they should be so that our children get the right education that they should. So I mean, so obviously if you cut teachers and you still have large numbers of students, that means that class sizes have to increase. I've been fortunate to be at a school over the last several years that had smaller class sizes, but now even we're feeling the crunch because you know, we're starting to have class sizes that are over 30. In schools that I worked in previously, they were large class sizes. At this school, like I said, unfortunately, we got lower. But then you also get a lot of classes where your ratio of students with special needs to gen ed students is very large too. And there are some state laws about that. And a lot of times in Chicago, those are being violated because we don't have enough personnel to cover those classes and students. So I think what the mayor, I mean, the mayor understands it, and so does the CPS, they just won't say it. Our pension is the only retirement income we are going to have. We're not eligible for Social Security. You know, and I think it's kind of disingenuous for them to not let the public know that. They make it sound to the public like it's a perk that we're getting on top of something. And the real part of it is that is actually our retirement income. Many years ago, it was negotiated as a part of our salary. I see it on my paycheck every 2 weeks. But I don't actually see it because it goes right into that. So it is a part of my salary that goes to my pension. And so I think they need to be a lot more truthful about what they're really trying to do. They are really trying to give us a 7% pay cut. And again, you know, not letting people know that that's how it really is, that this is our only retirement income. We don't get Social Security. You know, it really makes me angry that they do it that way. So what I would say to the mayor and what I would say to the public also is that 7% is not a perk. It is our retirement income. It's our only retirement income that we will get. By law, we're not able to get Social Security. So this is the things that all of us as teachers are going to need so that we can, after we leave teaching, we can still live a life, be able to eat, be able to live somewhere. You know, maybe take care of our grandkids if we need to. So I think it's really important that people understand that it's not a perk. It's something that we've actually negotiated as compensation a long time ago, and them trying to take it is like them not trying to pay Social Security for someone in a private sector job. You know, most employers pay into people's Social Security, right? It's usually about 7% from what I've researched. So basically, CPS is trying to get off the hook for paying any kind of retirement for us. So I would say, don't be afraid. You know, come join us. We're fighting for the schools that all of our students deserve. You know, we're fighting for their children. And one of the things that I would really like to say is that, you know, a lot of us, we're CPS parents too. So these budget cuts are not only coming in our own classrooms where we teach students, but they're coming on the backs of our own kids. And so we're right there with them, you know, and so if we're all together, we can get the schools that our students deserve. So I would say to them, don't be afraid, come join us, you know, and we can do it. I think getting involved, you know, in their community and making sure that we're working towards certain things, an elected school board, so that we're working towards proper funding for our schools. What I want the rank and file members to know is that our solidarity is our strength, that we need to come together and fight for the schools that our students deserve. I want them to remember that even though if their school might be a well-resourced school, a beautiful school, there are lots of schools around the city that aren't as well off, and so we need to protect all of our students, we need to protect all of our colleagues, and we need to protect our profession of teaching. And this is the moment to do it. We have a lot of support in the community and with parents, and so we need to take the fight to them.